Quinshon Judkins. Yeah, Travion Henderson, who had an amazing game against UT, had the huge screenplay that went, 75 yards that kind of flipped that thing on its ear back in favor of the Buckeyes, even though there were plays that had to be made. He's a fantastic player. He was really good at Ole Miss. He is entering the NFL draft.
Yeah, he'll be he's one of the many amazing running backs that are in this draft, and he's a good pass catcher, big play threat, speed, power, all that. He won't be the first. I guess Mel Kiper has him fourth or fifth, and that's about probably where he is. And I guess it depends on your personal preference, but he's got an NFL skill set for sure.
So to be clear, Quinshon Judkins announcing for the draft. You're just mentioning Travion Henderson because of is he going as well? Is that what you were meaning by that?
No, I didn't say that though. I don't think I said that. I said he was. I don't. Now you got me confused. Quinshon Judkins is entering the NFL draft. Travion Henderson was really, really good too. Had the big game against Texas. Judkins had the big game against Notre Dame.
Yeah, I was just confused by what you were saying there because you started talking about Travion Henderson. So, yeah, I mean, Travion Henderson was great. Quinshon Judkins had his moments there as well. And so not surprised to see him entering the NFL draft. Ohio State, you knew, was going to lose a lot of talented players, and Judkins was a big get to bring him over from Ole Miss and put him in that backfield with Travion Henderson and obviously Will Howard and the great wide receiving weapons they had. So, I don't think there's much surprise here, and you ride off to the sunset with the national championship. And Travion Henderson, obviously a guy who's got a very bright future ahead of him as well. So that was a dynamic backfield that they had last season and big part of what got them a national championship.
A lot of teams don't have one of those two. Ohio State had those two, and, of course, they always just reload. That's why they will have maybe, along with Texas, the most players drafted coming up when the NFL draft happens in late April. And here's another one.
If you're looking for a wheeled cooler, this is the Arctic 52-quart ultralight wheeled cooler. I hauled it on a deck, I hauled it downstairs, upstairs, grass, gravel, sandy road, mud puddles, the whole bit. And I gotta say, it is pretty darn tough. I really do like the wheels and the tow handle. It's easy to hold on to, even when full. It made it 6 full days with ice present, still keeping cool enough temperatures to keep drinks cold. This is a great cooler. And if you're looking for a new wheeled cooler that tows really nicely, this is a great option.
A phenomenal receiver, sometimes overshadowed because of the other great receivers, including the freshman and Jeremiah Smith. I'll have a note about him in a moment. Egbuka is entering the NFL draft. All-time leading receiver in Ohio State history, and they have had Garrett Wilson and many others, and now he is entering the draft, and he really had a bright playoff run for them too.
If he's not picked in the first round, then somebody's going to get somebody early in the second round that's a really, really outstanding player. And he reminds me a little bit of Jalen Polk from last year from Washington in that, he's not, he's got the right body size and speed and all that. Like, all the measurables are there, but he's not off the charts in anything. He's just really damn good. He's a really excellent route runner. He has fantastic hands. The other thing was part of this is, just a credit to Brian Hartline and the way he coaches that position. But Jeremiah Smith comes in. You've got a guy who's in his last season, a guy who's in his first. Because Emeka Egbuka has been able to kind of fade into the background a little bit and just do his thing and be that guy. Was there any strife or anything that was like, hey, why is this kid getting all the attention? Like, no, hey, I'm wide open now because of this guy. So he, clearly, great team player and all that. So big fan of his. I think he'll be in the top 20 to 22 picks.
Another fantastic Ohio State wide receiver making their way to the pros to join a number of other guys who have already done so and will continue to do so. We know Jeremiah Smith still got a couple years left. So, Egbuka, a very talented, productive player, another 1,000-yard season, another 10-touchdown season. Had a couple of those while at Ohio State, and a guy who probably did get overshadowed quite a bit just because of the immense talent around him, but still found plenty of opportunity to make waves himself. And, yeah, he's an excellent player at the college level. Don't know what to expect at the pro level, as y'all are discussing. Haven't really delved into that, but yeah, he's a good one and a loss for Ohio State. But because of the pedigree and the success they've had, you expect they'll just keep on rolling through them because that's what they've traditionally been able to do, and it's been very impressive. But yeah, he's another big-time guy that they're losing that they will have to replace.
They have had, in the last 4 years, Chris Olave, first-round pick, Garrett Wilson, first-round pick, Jackson Smith in Jigba, first-round pick, and, of course, Marvin Harrison Jr., the fourth overall pick in the draft. And now we'll see what Egbuka does when it comes to where he goes in the draft. Speaking of, Garrett, can we go to the NIL part? Yeah, we got that next, correct? Jeremiah Smith, who caught the pass that basically ended the Notre Dame game on that third down conversion, he and others, it's part of football today, Carnell Lake, Smith and Lake and others, the money being offered to them according to this article from Pete Nakos at On3 Sports. They had a, $25 million payroll, so to speak. And I saw some of the responses. It's going to have to go to $35 million for them to keep everybody and bring other players into the mix that they want.
Well, that's what happens when you win a national title, and there's no repercussions for anybody for doing this.
Nope.
So, yeah, I'm surprised that the numbers are. I mean, $4.5 million is a ton, but I'm not surprised that Carnell Tate's getting $1 million offer. I'm sure it'll get worked out at Ohio State. I don't see those guys leaving. Part of it is, look, you're going to make seven figures at Ohio State, and you're probably going to be a first-round draft pick. If, just say Michigan State's the one offering $4.5 million because they're so desperate. Jeremiah Smith's going to be a first-round draft pick if he went to Toledo next year. But if you're Carnell Tate, like, I would take $1 million if they gave me $900,000 and not $1 million at Ohio State, and I knew that I was going to be a first-round draft pick, as opposed to I'm going to get $1 million and wind up somewhere that won't be as good. Sometimes those things have to come into effect, but it also shows you what kind of money you're going to have to come with to try to illegally pry somebody away from Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm sure the winning and the culture and all of that that brought those guys there partially in the first place will help offset some of the money that Miami or someone like that might throw at you. But I think that absolutely sucks for the sport that's a story. Like, I mean, I guess it's fun for the off-season banter and it's fun for headlines and all of that, but I think it's just totally ridiculous that these guys just won a national championship. And in the case of Jeremiah Smith, I understand he's a big-time player. He's played one season, and we're already talking about having to rework his contract or whatever, or other teams looking to poach him. And that's healthy for the sport, I guess. That's great for college football, I suppose. It certainly is for shows like this and for discussion. But, I mean, what's wrong with college football? That right there. Why don't people want to tune into two random teams? Well, because it's just like their old players who got picked apart the moment they had a good year and guys who have been on their third team, not because they lost their starting spot, just because they just went where the money went. We haven't quite seen that, but I'm sure we're not far away from that. I mean, go get your money, boo-boo. Go do what you can do and earn what you can earn. I have nothing against that whatsoever. But the fact that days removed from a national championship, we're talking about unnamed teams via the same outlets as usual with these money tags we can't really confirm or deny or whatever, and they're trying to poach this kid, and we're just like, yep. I just think that speaks to the complete lack of anything in terms of NCAA enforcement or rules in college football. And if you like the chaos, it's great. Like I said, for talking, it's wonderful. But I don't think that's healthy for the sport in any way. I tell you, you have to constantly 24/7 guard your roster from poachers who are unnamed and never have any repercussions whatsoever. So, you know what? No way to stop it. They'll just channel it through the uncle or the cousin or the agent or whoever. But that just seems kind of ridiculous.